And we are live. What's up, everyone? It's your boy Kyle Gray. Thank you so much for tuning into this free online live crystal training. I am so excited that you are here. Please let me know in the chat or in the comments, because you can do both, where you are listening from. And I'm really excited that you are here. And just a little bit about me. I'm speaking to you live from my home it's just outside Glasgow city centre. I live in the suburbs, and yeah, really excited to be here. I will share that my life's mission is to help as many people get spiritually connected as humanly possible. And I do that through a number of different means. I do that through my books. I've written 8 books and I'm writing my ninth right now. And I also have created 8 different oracle decks. And I genuinely believe that everyday people can have miraculous spiritual connections. And I'm saying this because I'm an everyday person too. So I've made it my life mission to enlighten people, to share with others how they can bring miracles and magic into their everyday life. My journey really kicked off when I was around 15, when I became connected to the angels, and I started doing around that time angel readings. But before I started working with oracle cards, my spiritual journey actually started with crystals. Crystals were my first love, my first spiritual love, and they've always been a very big part of my life. And so if you don't know me, then you know, you maybe just take my word for it. But if you do know me and you've followed me on social media, you'll see there's crystals everywhere. I have them in my home, and every room of my home there are crystals. It's a very big part of my life. And during the first lockdown, the shutdown, whatever you want to call it, I was sharing, my self-care Sunday regime, where I was placing crystals on myself and on my body. And so many people were like, oh my goodness, I want to learn more about that and how to apply crystals. Please do a training on them. And so I did. I created a training on them, and that's what we're doing right now. I've been doing this annually now, I guess for 5 years, this online crystal training. And I will also share that there's an opportunity to go further and become certified in crystals. But that is not necessary. So if that's not kind of part of your agenda, that's not what you want to do. I want to tell you a little bit about what we're going to discuss here, and then get right to it so you can get the most of this. My promise to you is that by the end of this training that we're doing right now, you will know a little bit more about crystals, and you will know about the mission of crystals and really what crystals are supposed to do, and how they can help you. You will learn how to cleanse, charge, and program crystals so that you can take any crystal and kind of help it have a specific use. And you'll also know how to apply this crystal on your body to have a healing effect. So that's my main priority, is during this live training right now, is like how to pick the right one, and once you've got the right one, how to work with it and how to apply it on your body or in your life so that it can support making a healing change. Like, that's really my goal from this training. And my goal is to answer all of your questions before you ask them. So if you are here and there are burning questions that you do not get answered during this training, please leave them in the comments, because I will take my time to try and review as many questions as possible after doing this. As you can probably see, there is a number of you here live right now, and there's so many different ideas, questions that will come in, but doing it at the same time as being live can be really difficult. So I've decided that I will look at the questions after the training, so that I can give my whole effort to this PowerPoint that I've prepared for you. I also just want to say, just on my desk here, I've got some of my favorite crystals. and my crystal travel kit. Just, to talk a bit about these beings and to kind of get you into them. So on the other screen, and I should just get that set up, I have a PowerPoint that I'm going to go through and show you today. And I also wanted to say that there are two manuals that we have created. My team and I have created to support some of the topics that we're going to be discussing during this live call today. And so if you haven't printed out the manual, do not be alarmed because I'm going to bring it up on the screen. And I'll also show you where that is so that you can get the information and so you can apply it to your life. So I'm just going to make sure we've got here we go. Just let me know you can see that. Good stuff. And I also will jump over to the watch page. So where you click to join this live, down on the bottom of that same page, you will see there are two different manuals. There's the Free Crystal 101 guide and the Healing Properties by Color guide. I also posted a similar thing on social media with regards to the by color, but if you wanted to actually have a printout of it, we've created that for you there. So jumping back over to our PowerPoint, which is here, today we're going to be connecting with crystals. I want to give you a little bit more information about them, but before we do so, I wanted to take an opportunity to share a grounding meditation with you. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing, if you have the opportunity to be fully present, I would invite you now just to bring both of your feet down to the earth and allow both of your palms to face upwards in your lap and close down your eyes and just take a few moments just to be here. Closing your eyes. Taking deep inhales and deep exhales just to arrive in this present moment. And before we go into the topic of crystals, I invite you, first of all, just to think about something that you are grateful for. That could be someone you love, a blessing of your day. And once you've tuned into that energy of gratitude, allow this gratitude feeling to be an anchor that holds you in the present moment. And the gratitude you feel generates a light in the center of your being that grows brighter, brighter, and even brighter until it washes through your body like a spiritual car wash, washing away any frustrations or stresses, wiping you clean so that you can breathe deeper, be more present and aware. And into this space, we welcome the guiding spirits of the crystalline structures, the angels of the crystal realm. Thank you for holding a sacred space for us to learn more about this topic. And we set a collective intention today that whatever is gained from this coming together, may it serve the greater good of all beings. And may whatever healing we nurture within ourselves also contribute to the healing of the earth and the healing of all hearts. And we also just connect now down into Mother Earth. Thank you, Great Mother, for giving us the treasure that we call crystals. We're so grateful for you. And take a deep breath in, deep breath out. and come back into this space. And so it is. So let's talk about how crystals are formed. I think that a lot of us don't realize how these beautiful, beautiful objects become what they are today. So there are different formations of crystals, but the majority of crystals that you will find in the world have been formed, and they have been formed through a number of different ways. But in most cases, it's like there have been living elements within the earth, and either through heat or pressure, the elements that were existing in their spaces could no longer continue existing as they were, and they had to become something else. So quartz, for example, this is a quartz crystal, so Lemurian quartz crystal is a chemical structure of silicon dioxide, so silicon to oxygen. And so quartz is a crystal that is created. It's a crystal that is kind of forced into the space of transformation. It could not exist as these separate elements in the earth any longer. And through great heat, great pressure, a crystal is formed. So that's how it happens. So there's either like they can be below the seabed, that could be, warmed up by volcanic structures, but crystals are formed through this energy of transformation. They can no longer exist as they are, and through great heat or great pressure, they're pushed into becoming something else. Now, I believe crystals have a higher purpose. Crystals have a higher purpose, and that is to enhance and magnify energy. Now, going back to the idea of a higher purpose, what that means is a higher purpose, as far as I'm concerned, is that it's a mission that you have come in with. Now, there are people in the world that were just made to do certain things. It's undeniable when certain people do certain things in the world that have, great impact. There's a part of us that can't deny that sometimes people are just made to be that certain type of person or to do that specific job. And I'm sure you've probably got a loved one in your life that has done something miraculous in the world, or maybe it's someone who is in the service industry, who just were made for the job. That it's just undeniable, that they can do this. And that's what crystals are. Crystals are kind of like those people. They're beings, as far as I'm concerned, that, have come in with this higher purpose. And I believe that crystals, because as you know, when we get our hands on these beautiful things, they've came to us from miners, right? So people have unearthed these crystals in the earth, either from mines or from big dig outs or whatever. And a lot of people often ask me, do crystals want to be found? Do they want to be unearthed? And my answer is yes. I really believe that crystals have wanted to be found. And of course, there's been a lot of controversy, around the fair trade of crystals, which is a complete, it's a complete conversation in itself. And it's something that I don't feel fully qualified to discuss. And, I recommend trying to find the most ethical fair trade suppliers possible. But however crystals have come to you, I genuinely believe that they've made this soul-led sacrifice to leave their home, which is ultimately the earth, to be cut away from their matrix or to be separated from themselves, to come into our lives and to come into our world. Like, that's really it. Now, the reason that we are called to crystals and the reason that we are feeling the need to connect with them is because they are a reflection of the transformation that we can make in ourselves. So when you are feeling called to work with a crystal or to place a crystal on your body or to hold a crystal or to carry a crystal in your bra, in your bag, in your sock, put it under your pillow, whatever way you feel called to. When you're feeling called to that crystal, is because the crystal is holding within its keys and its codes and its energy, the energy of transformation. And that same energy of transformation is also being held within you, and you are able to unearth that within yourself. So the crystal's purpose when it comes into your life is to demonstrate towards you that the transformation that you are feeling called to make is possible for you. Now, jumping on to this slide, I wrote crystals enhance and magnify energy, and we know that quartz specifically has piezoelectric capabilities. And if you have a watch that has a quartz movement in it, that means your watch has a very slender, thin slice of quartz crystal in there that helps the function of the clock work. And we know that quartz is piezoelectric, and so therefore it enhances electric currents and can carry information. We are watching this PowerPoint today, or this presentation today, on a laptop or a handheld device that contains within it silicon chips, which are quartz and man-made quartz, if you will. But all of the information that is held within the computers or the devices that we're using are saved into quartz, silicon. So it has great memory as well. It can hold energy, it can magnify energy, it can enhance energy. The other thing that's really important to point out when we are looking at crystals is the fact that they hold and reflect light. So I've got this quartz crystal here today, which seems to be my chosen tool of example. And you can see when I'm holding this crystal and turning it in the air, all of, the clarity in the crystal, and the reflection in the crystal, and essentially the light that is held within the crystal. Now, if we look into spirituality and empowerment as an essence of light, from a spiritual perspective, the crystal will hold that light, so that can be your intention, what you're hoping to create, but it also can reflect light. So when we're called to a crystal and we're like, oh my goodness, I want to go and buy that crystal on that shelf over there, it's screaming out my name. The reason that I believe the spiritual reason that you are being called towards that crystal is because it's holding a light that is a reflection of you. It's a being that has went through a complete transformation, which is possible for you. And so the crystal is ultimately kind of like this spiritual, what would you call it? It's a role model, a spiritual role model, kind of guiding you to what is possible for you. But I think it's really important to say that crystals, since the beginning of time and in many ancient civilizations, have been revered for their healing and their mystical qualities. We know for a fact that the ancient Egyptians had crystals in some of their ritual ceremonial spaces and in their breastplates. And I know emeralds, sapphires, and rubies were honored and mentioned within the Bible as having these powers. So we know for a fact that crystals are there. And of course, if we think about the Celts, and also indigenous people in many different parts of the world, they've all had like, different crystals dependent on where you're from and what culture you follow. But, like turquoise is being connected to a lot of indigenous people. The Celts, of course, worshipped through stone circles. Stonehenge, of course, has the Petersite, I think it's Petersite, standing stone. So, there is evidence to say that our ancestors and the people that walked the earth before us have used and worked with crystals as a means of spiritual communication and amplification. So we know that quartz, as we know, has piezoelectric qualities. It can amplify energy. And then from a spiritual perspective, really, this is like picking up a cell phone and getting straight onto the line with God, like that's really what is considered here, what we're really pointing out. So crystals are a very big part of the modern world, and you can go into like Urban Outfitters and even just like card and stationery stores and find like birthday cards with crystals connected to them or on them, or you can go into Urban Outfitters and buy like a crystal necklace. Crystals are becoming part of the mainstream, and they are regarded as these tools that can really hold transformation, support transformation, and encourage transformation. So, important things to really point out here is that crystals, like people, are sensitive and they are aware of energetic changes. So when there's a crystal in the space or in the room or even in the car or in your bag, crystals are aware of the energetic shifts in the space. And so I often say crystals can become tainted or muted based on the energy that they have come from or the energies that they are exposed to. And a really important thing to acknowledge here is that you will probably have a crystal in your life that you loved for a long, 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 long time. And like I want to take it everywhere and take it everywhere and place it everywhere. And I love this crystal and it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then the crystal either goes missing. So if a crystal goes missing, let's talk about that first of all. When a crystal goes missing from your life, it's often because it is holding an energy that you need to let go of. So not the actual crystal itself, but in your life, there is an energy that it has been exposed to and it is picked up on, and it's trying to take that energy away from you. So see, I've had this quartz, rose quartz crystal for years. I bought it in Germany, and there has been moments of my life where this crystal has went walkies. It's just disappeared and I haven't been able to find it anywhere. And then I looked in my backpack like 20 times, and then the next trip I'm using the same backpack, and all of a sudden there the crystal just shows up out of nowhere. So that's happened to me many times. So if a crystal goes missing for a while, it's because it has an energy inside it, or it's picked up on an energy that it wants to deal with for you, and it's disappearing with that energy to kind of get that energy out of your life. So that's one thing. Crystals can also shatter or smash. So if you had a crystal that you really, 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 really loved, and then one day, the same crystal you've been using for all those years, and it, you go to pick it up and it just smashes, or you drop the crystal and it shatters into a million pieces on the earth, on the ground, sorry, breaks for some reason, then that crystal has picked an energy up from you that you don't need, an energy that is not supporting your higher purpose, an energy that is draining you in some way. So I call that a crystal taking the hit for you. So it's kind of like a bodyguard, a psychic bodyguard, where the crystal will disappear with the energy, or it will sacrifice itself and smash into smithereens in order to like take the impact of that energetic blow that is coming your way. That's really what crystals do. So they are beautiful things, and of course sometimes they can be very expensive, and so sometimes that's really hard to take in when they smash or break or go missing. But I think what we need to remember is that crystals have come in with this higher purpose, and they really do have this intention to help us and make a difference in our life. I'm just going to put my lights on because it's getting dark. There we go. Have this intention to help us and support us, and so it wants to do that. So beyond the financial energetic exchanges that we've made for this particular thing, it still has a kind of life and a soul of its own, and it will fulfill that mission if it needs to. So that's really important to point out. And so that takes me to the caring for your crystals. Caring for your crystals is essential for you to experience their magic. So caring for your crystals is really, really important. And I want to just say, like, when I'm saying caring for a crystal, it can be storing it right. This is my travel chakra kit, and it's got little pockets in it, and all my crystals are in there. And I love small crystals. It's really important to say I love ones that I can place on my third eye. I don't really like heavy crystals on my body. So having a really small, neat kit, really small crystals is what I like best. So yes, so caring for your crystals is an essential thing. And I was speaking earlier on about, crystals going missing or crystals shattering. There's another way for us to know that a crystal has an energy that is not serving us. And that's when, if you say you have a crystal that you really love, and you're like taking it everywhere all the time, it's in your pocket, it's in your bag, you're taking it to work, you're taking it to bed, it's like a big part of your life. And then this one day you go to pick up the crystal and you're like, ugh. Or you look at the crystal and it just like looks different, or it doesn't look as bright, or looks dusty. It's got a dead, like old energy in it. It needs replenished. So if you look at crystal and you're like, oh Lord, that is so dusty. Like maybe you put the crystal on your nightstand last night and you wake up in the morning and it's covered in dust. That's a sign that it's attracting negative energy. Or you look at the crystal and you're like, oh, I'm not drawn to you anymore. That's weird. Like, spent hundreds of dollars on this one crystal, and then I go to pick it up today and it's just like giving off like it just doesn't look good. That means the crystal has an energy in it that's not serving it. Another example of that would be, maybe you buy a beautiful crystal online, and I'll talk a little bit about buying crystals online. I love buying crystals on Etsy. Etsy's a wonderful place to buy crystals because it's a marketplace for small businesses, mostly handmade goods, but they sell crystals too. And a lot of the people who sell crystals on Etsy are working in a fair trade manner, And also, you are supporting a small business, and also a lot of these crystal stores that are on Etsy are curated by one or two people. And so you find really beautiful items, and you're supporting a small business, and you can often ask a lot more questions. Whereas if you just hop on Amazon and put in like chakra kit, there's a good chance that you're going to just, have a mass produced crystal kit that has come from a factory that is not fair trading and all these different things. So by being able to buy from a small business online is a really wonderful way. And then of course another great way to buy crystals is if you live near any metaphysical new age bookstores. A lot of those spaces and places sell crystals and collections of crystals, and you can actually go in there with specific needs and uses and all these things. However, going back to that, maybe you go to an online store and you see this like beautiful crystal, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is a selenite. This is a beautiful crystal. I'm going to buy it. It looks beautiful. Then when you buy the crystal and it comes to your home and you like unwrap it and open it up and all these things, and you go to like use that, like see the crystal, and you're like, oh, it doesn't look as good as I thought it did online. It's not anything to do with how the crystal looks. It's because there's an energy that crystal has picked up on its journey to you that is not suiting its structure. It has an energy within it that needs to be cleared and let go of. That's really what it is. So you just keep that in mind. If you go to pick up a crystal and it doesn't look good, doesn't feel good, or seems dusty, murky, or not colorful, not shiny, not sparkly like it was before, or when it arrives from a store and it looks different to how it did online, it's because there's a negative energy in that crystal. And that's the crystal doing its job. It wants to take away any, dark, unwanted, unnecessary energies from your life. So this leads me to this really important topic, which is Crystal Care 101. And as discussed already, there's a manual that I've created specifically for this. And I would love just to go through the steps of Crystal Care 101. So here's the manual that we have. Excuse me, to take a sip of water. So here's the manual. A little bit younger version of me, but we still, that's my, the picture in that, the crystal in that picture is my selenite samurai sword, as I call it. It is humongous. It's a gigantic, and I use this in, oh gosh, that gave me goosebumps. I use this in ceremonies to cut the cords and clear people's energies. Yeah, so a beautiful giant piece of selenite, which I love. So anyway, Crystal Care 101. So let's talk about this. So when you're first introduced to crystals, a lot of people really love to just put the crystal under the moonlight and then bam, like I'm charging my crystals. Now, I think it's really important to say to you, say you buy the crystal and it comes and it feels wonky, or you look at your crystal and it feels murky and you're like, that needs charged. And then you put that weird energies in the crystal and then you put it under the moonlight. The moon is a charging energy. So it's like she's like plugging an iPhone in, she's going to charge it up. She's going to fill up the energy. Now, from my experience, lunar energy is charging, it's powerful, it supports the intention. But if there's an intention already in the crystal or an energy already in the crystal, when you place it under the moonlight, you are just you're just charging up that intention that you don't want to experience. That's really, so I know this is really important. The amount of people that just shove their crystals under the moonlight and think that's going to sort out all the issues, they've got it wrong. Before you charge a crystal, you want to wipe it, you want to cleanse it, you want to start afresh, you want to get the old energy out before you put new energy in. So say, that's got really bad vibes from coming through the postal center, or because where it came from, it wasn't honored or loved, or maybe there was a really funky deal done on that crystal before it got to you. For whatever reason, that crystal comes with a bad vibe in it. And you'll know a bad vibe. It either looks good and feels good or it doesn't. If it doesn't look good and feel good, it's got a bad vibe in it. That's it. You don't even have to be psychically or spiritually trained. Like, our bodies are sensitive to know. Gosh, this has got a really good vibe in it. Our bodies are sensitive to know that when we look at a crystal, whether it's got good vibes in it or not. So in order to get the best out of a crystal, there's a 3-step process. You cleanse the crystal first, you charge the crystal second, and then you program the crystal. So like you cleanse all the old vibes out, you empower it by giving it full, charging up the battery essentially, and then setting an intention. That's what the programming is. But a lot of people just like put the crystal under the moonlight and then just like shove it on their body and like hope something's going to happen from it. But there's actually a process. Well, that's what I believe, and that's what I've created when I created this manual. So ways to cleanse a crystal. So this is all in the manual. Please print this out or save it to the documents on your handheld device, your phone. So sunlight is a beautiful way to cleanse a crystal. So by placing a crystal in sunlight, you can allow the energies of the solar energy to, clear out the crystal. A little note that I've placed here is that leaving crystals in direct sunlight can change or lighten the colors of certain species of crystals, such as amethyst or kunzite. Oh, that's loud. This is one of my favorite pieces of kunzite that I own. Again, I tend to go for these kind of like, I don't know, they're like crystal swords and daggers, because I love cutting cords and removing old energies. So I had a piece of kunzite that I left on the shelf in my old apartment in the sunlight one day. It was actually hiddenite, which is the green version of kunzite, and I left it all day long, and I came back that night and it was no longer green, it was clear. So you can change the structure of, not the structure, the color of crystals if you leave them under direct sunlight. Oh, there's my door. Please bear with me. I'll just pause this for 1 second. Someone else got it. Okay, yeah, you can change the color of crystals by placing them in sunlight for too long. So amethyst, kunzite, and other crystals can change color. So if you're placing it in sunlight, I think it's really important to say that it doesn't need to be there all day long. You could be doing it for 15, 20 minutes, and imagining the sunlight cleansing it. It doesn't have to be there all day long. Another great way to cleanse crystals, and certain crystals love this and certain don't. So do your research, but excuse me, crystals love being cleansed by water. So not all of them. So again, note, certain crystals can change when you place them under water. Examples would be like a selenite, celestite. They will wear away underwater. So it's always good to Google if your crystal is water friendly. But crystals like quartz, amethyst, rose quartz, citrine, they all tend to do well underwater. So I like to make a rule that if a crystal's called something with ITE like fluorite, selenite, celestite, don't use them in water. They tend not to be as hard as quartz, which has a hardness of 7, which means that it's more robust underwater. But I've found that crystals like, quartz and amethyst and stuff, when you place them under natural flowing streams or waterfalls they tend to really get cleansed. Rainwater as well. When I had a big batch of crystals delivered to my home a couple of summers ago, that were for other people, I placed them in the heavy rainfall one day, and the crystals just were so like I could feel them singing. Another great way to cleanse crystals would be through sacred smoke. That'd be incense, white sage, frankincense. In the Celtic lands, we use mugwort, which is burning mugwort, kind of similar to the idea of smudging, but we call it saining. So you can actually use sacred smoke to cleanse the space. So again, it always helps to use something that's friendly to your body, friendly to the environment, and also within your tradition in order for it to be most empowering. So once you've cleansed the crystal, and I think really importantly here, I also use my mind to cleanse a crystal. You can also ask angels and archangels to help you. But I like sunlight to cleanse, moonlight to charge. So here's how to, once a crystal's been cleansed, just old energies have been removed from it. And I'm going to take you through this in a second. You can charge the crystal by taking it under the moon. Obviously, full moon is best for full charge of a crystal. Sacred spaces. I've taken some of my crystals to standing stone circles to get them charged, or like Rosalind Chapel, which is connected to the Templar mysteries and Mary Magdalene, or sacred spaces are a great way to have a crystal charged. You can ask a master or an archangel or a saint to charge a crystal as well. Now, here I've placed in the manual visualization to cleanse and charge. You can also use the power of visualization to help you cleanse a crystal. So I always imagine that any lower vibrations are being drawn out of the crystal and like pulled into the earth. So imagine that, and as soon as the old energies, the negative energies, the low vibrational energies hit the earth, I imagine that the earth has the power and the capacity to purify it instantly. Almost just kind of like, how we know that, forests and greenery can, inhale carbon dioxide and produce oxygen. When the earth has these negative energies pulled into her soil, she just purifies it instantly, reprograms the energy, and then sends out positive light and love through the earth. So I imagine that when I'm holding a crystal, I imagine negative energies being drawn out into the earth and the soil below me, but that as soon as it touches the earth and the soil below me, it is purified. And that energy can be used in whatever way the great Mother Earth, has. And then I imagine once the negative energies have came out of it, pure, beautiful, loving energies of the earth are sent up into the crystal, and pure loving energies of the high heavens are sent into the crystal, and it's starting to charge it up, light it up, like really linking it up to the energies of both heaven and earth. Really powering up that crystal. And then it takes us to the how to program a crystal. So earlier on we were speaking about, certain crystals are in like chipboards or laptops, or all these crystals like have memory function, they can hold information, so they all have a role. That's what it means to program a crystal, is that you can set a specific intention for a specific crystal to do a certain thing. For example, maybe you want to put a crystal into your child's backpack to protect them at school, or like to create a protective energy for them at school and to help them concentrate, to help them, make friends, to feel safe and to be themselves. You could program a crystal to do something like that. Or maybe a loved one is going for an operation. You could hold a crystal into to support a speedy, safe recovery. Maybe someone's sitting an exam, you could give them a crystal to support them passing the test. That's what programming a crystal is. Now, before we do this, I want to just jump into a couple of points that I think you'll find helpful, and that will also help me share the information about the other manual. The key thing here is that the crystal world has been infiltrated by capitalism. And so a lot of us find ourselves in these circumstances like, I need this crystal for that thing, I need that crystal for that thing, I need that crystal for that thing, I need that crystal for that thing. Like citrine for abundance, rose quartz for love, amethyst for headaches, all these different things, to help us. Now, what you need to know is that no matter what crystal you have, the crystal that you have can be used and programmed for any fit purpose. So the key thing here is that I'm teaching you that no crystal is wrong. So you don't have to like Google what's the best crystal to protect you from nightmares. Any crystal can do any role. That's what programming is all about. There are, of course, certain crystals that do some things better than others. And so that's why I created this color manual. So instead of teaching you the individual healing properties of every single crystal available existing in the market, I made the Crystals 101 Healing Properties by Color manual, so that you can just kind of choose a crystal by color. So it doesn't have to be any specific crystal. It can just be any crystal that you have in that color that you can program it. So here's some things that these crystals do naturally. So black crystals are brilliant for protecting, fear removing, clearing negativity, extracting disease or pain. I've got that exact crystal here that's in my manual. Red crystals, or that can be a quartz crystal with red or brownish red in it. That's what that is there. That's a quartz crystal with a high level of iron in it. So red crystals are really good for grounding. They're also protective, they're pain relieving, they're heart healing, strength and courage. Orange crystals, I have that one here too, is great for creative ventures, getting into flow, confidence, sexuality, and fertility. Yellow for willpower, drive, goal setting, manifestation, intention, exams, study. Green crystals are brilliant for forgiveness, mending relationships, compassion, understanding, back pain. The reason for that is the base chakra, which is associated with back pain, is red. But in the color wheel, the complementary color to red is green. So if you've got back pain, you'll be in red. So you use green to heal it. So that's something we teach in my training. Blue is good for confidence, direction, expression. It's great for musical talent or anything similar, acting as well. Stress relieving and calming. Purple crystals, and that can be purple fully or crystals with purple in them. They're great for spiritual development, feeling seen, awakening the third eye, understanding, clear-mindedness, and also meditation. Clear crystals are great for clarity, awareness, openness, angelic connection, and spiritual guides and goal setting. And then pink crystals are to do with all matters of the heart, of love, healing on all levels, self-care, self-forgiveness, and the inner child. And then white crystals, which I kind of see selenite as, because it's kind of like clear and white. They're great for strength, radiance, healing, healing bones or teeth issues, spinal support, and calmness. So based on the energy that you want to create, you can choose by color. But if you don't have the opportunity to choose by color, you can just program any crystal to do anything. But if you want to like double down on a particular intention, then that's where you could choose a color. But any crystal can be used for any purpose. So the other thing that I add in that's not in this manual and that I have been doing, and I'm going to take you through that process, is that when I am about to work with a particular crystal to do a particular thing, I always say to the crystal, before I like cleanse, charge, and program it, I always say, thank you for making the sacrifice of coming out of the earth to me. And for me, that feels really positive and really spiritual, just to say to the crystal, I'm grateful that you chose to be found. I'm grateful that you said yes to the spiritual mission to do this healing work. And then I do the ceremony to cleanse, charge, and program it for a specific use. So saying thanks to the crystal is something that feels really, really good. And I often find that it lets the crystal work even more powerfully because it's like you're becoming friends with it. It's you are really like tapping into it. Now, we're going to do the 101 shortly, but I think there's some other parts to the training that will help you before we get there. So just jumping back to that screen. So the key thing with all of this is that any crystal can do anything. And, the other thing that's really important is that we let crystals be teachers. They are holding the codes and the keys of the earth within them. They hold this mystery of the earth within them. And, I think that we can let crystals teach us. And so when you're working with crystals, give them the opportunity to speak to you. And I don't mean the crystal's got a mouth and it's going to have like two eyes and a mouth and start being like, hey girl, and tell you things. But I really believe that crystals have been unearthed so that they can unearth within us information that we need to know. They're like physical embodiments of spiritual beings and spiritual guides that are available to us. And when we hold them, they magnify, reflect within us all of the information that we already have that we've maybe not claimed or connected to. And when we work with them, they kind of like bring that to our awareness and bring that to our attention so that we can connect with that information. So that's really important when you are working with your crystals, and that you ask them for what you need to know. The other important thing is that crystals hold space for the body to heal. Now, when you are in life and, when something is going wrong in your body, maybe you slice your finger while cutting food in the kitchen, already when you slice your finger open and you have a cut, your body creates this plan to heal itself. It creates this plan to do what it needs to do in order for it to be repaired. So when you have something going on in your life, in your body, whenever you have a wound, whether it be mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, your body is creating a plan in order for that to heal. We know the body has all the resources within it for it to heal itself. That's really, really important. So with that being said, when we start to work with crystals, a lot of people attribute every single experience of healing to the crystals. I believe that the crystals actually facilitate a sacred and spiritual space for us to be able to heal ourselves. I think that, yes, crystals can magnify the healing and amplify the healing. And I have found that when I place crystals on my body, I tend to feel very relaxed. Now, I know from my studies, I've done quite a lot of different things in my life, that in order for the body to heal itself, we want to activate this thing called the parasympathetic nervous system. And the parasympathetic nervous system is activated when we do meditation, when we listen to classical music. It activates every night when we're going to bed. When we start yawning and we feel tired, it's time to retire and go to sleep. The parasympathetic nervous system is switching on. And this part of the nervous system is all about replenishing. It's all about rest and rejuvenation. And in order for someone's body to heal from something, that parasympathetic nervous system has to be activated. For example, whenever someone is, really ill, or has been exposed to some sort of traumatic circumstance, they are encouraged to sleep as long as possible and sleep as much as they can. And it's because the parasympathetic nervous system allows the body to move into a healing state that allows healing to unfold. Now, there's information out there existing that when we place crystals on the body, we're often led into a deep relaxed state where the parasympathetic nervous system switches on, and that's when healing can really occur. So I think it's really important to say that crystals hold space for the body to heal itself. Crystals hold space for us to be able to allow healing to unfold within. So that's powerful stuff. So jumping back to that. And the other thing is that crystals will draw out fear and blockages, creating space for miracles. So when you start working with crystals and applying crystals and choosing crystals, when they come into your life, sometimes people report things going a little bit funky and haywire. And, ever since I got that crystal, something has shifted. Yes, crystals will call you to attention. They will, and certain ones are known for being quite severe in their ability to do so. If you've never heard of this crystal, it's actually a tektite, which is when a meteor hits the earth, and when they collide, the residue that's created creates this stone or a crystal. So there's one called moldavite, and the first time I got my hands on a piece of moldavite, I was vomiting. I was like, I had the craziest full-on experience. So certain crystals will come into our energetic space, and actually they can create an adverse reaction. you'll know very quickly if it's going to do that. If you pick it up, you get a shooting pain or a sore head, or you feel sick or overwhelmed, put that crystal down and walk away for a minute, because it's unearthing something. And often in those cases, it's drawing out fear and blockages. When it does so, it commands us to look for it. It's like doing shamanic work. You know, when you work with a shaman, they will take you to a dark place before you find the light. And it's because they need you to see and look at fear eye to eye in order to be able to heal. Most crystals are not going to do this, but when you start to work with crystals, if things start going haywire, it's because they're getting rid of the energies from your life that are not supporting your healing. All of this is held by relaxation. It is the key to healing. So that takes me to the power centers. There are 3 power centers in the body, and these are the main places that I have found crystals to be able to be applied to the physical body for us to feel their might and their power. They are the heart, the third eye, and the solar plexus. So the heart, the third eye, and the solar plexus. If you place a crystal on the heart, the third eye, or the solar plexus, that is the best way for you to receive teaching, healing, support from that crystal. Now, as I've mentioned before, I don't like heavy crystals on my third eye. So this is as big as it's probably going to get for me. But any crystal can be placed on any part of the body in order for you to heal it, to experience it. So once you've cleansed, charged, programmed a crystal, if you're doing it for yourself, the best way to then bond with it would be to lay down on your bed and place that crystal on one of the 3 power centers, whether it be the heart, the third eye, or the solar plexus, and then just put on like a relaxation music or your favorite song. I often like to set an alarm, because if a crystal is going to teach you something, it sometimes will put you to sleep, maybe make you fall asleep very quickly. So place the crystal on one of those power centers, put on some relaxation music, lay down, and just receive from the crystal. Just see what happens. Go on a journey. Set an alarm for like 20 minutes time, dependent on how much time you have, and let it go on a journey. I, for the last little while, have been working with 2 particular crystals that I love. I love this rose quartz and this seraphinite connected to the angels. I've been placing these on my power centers at bedtime, and it's been amazing. I've been having the most relaxed, rejuvenating sleep. So to prepare you for that next step, I want to take you through the process of cleansing, charging, and programming a crystal with mind and intention, asking a crystal to teach you something, giving you some homework to go and try that. And then after we've done so, the workshop will be coming to an end, but I will be speaking about what I've got coming up. So if you've loved this and you want to take it to the next level, make sure you stay around after this exercise, because I want to show you what I've got. So choose one of your crystals that you'd like to cleanse, charge, and program. And if you don't have a crystal in your collection yet, then please come back to this to try it, because the only way to learn about crystals is to work with them. So I'm going to take my seraphinite. I'm going to place it in my right hand, which is my sending hand, and I'm going to cup it with my left. Now I'm going to take you through the process. So take whatever crystal you've got, place it in your right hand, left hand overlapping it. Close the eyes down. Take a deep inhale. Let it all go. And first of all, internally, just say to this crystal, thank you. Thank you for choosing to come to me. Thank you for unearthing so that you can support my journey to healing and wellness, so that you can support my journey to spiritual mastery. I'm so grateful that you came into my life and my world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for making the sacrifice, the journey. I'm grateful you're here. Take another deep inhale. Let it all go. And know that the crystal is so grateful that you are grateful to it. Now, I want you to imagine, and if you can't visualize, just say this with intention. Any negativity in this crystal is taken from the crystal down, deep down into the earth. And as soon as that energy touches the soil, it is transmuted and purified by the might of Mother Earth. And that energy is transformed to positivity, love, and light that's sent round the four directions and the four corners of the earth and used in a way that Mother Earth sees fit. So all negativity is now removed from this crystal. And now it's time for the crystal to be charged. Imagining pure divine light coming from the heart of heaven into the crystal. And again, if you can't visualize, just say, pure divine light from the heart of heaven is now kissing and blessing this crystal, charging this crystal, filling this crystal with energy, with purpose, with mission, with light. Thank you, angels, for charging this crystal to its highest capability. Imagine pure light and blessings from the earth coming into this crystal and supporting this crystal and keeping it connected to the wisdom and the intelligence of the Great Mother. And now with this crystal charged, set an intention for what you would like this crystal to support you with. And thank it for that. See, I programmed this crystal to support me with. I programmed this crystal to support me with, and then say your intention. Thank you for guiding this experience. Thank you for leading the way. Thank you for supporting healing in all levels within this situation. Take a deep inhale, a deep exhale. Now take the same crystal from your right hand and place it into your left hand, which is the receiving hand. And now this crystal is charged for you. It's programmed for you. Say to the crystal, thank you for revealing to me what I need to know. Thank you for unearthing within me information, wisdom that will support me on my journey. And just sit with that crystal. And even if you haven't received anything, just say thank you anyway. And then just take the crystal and say, and so it is. Opening your eyes and looking at it. Looking at the beauty of this stone that you've chosen to cleanse, charge and program today and seeing how it shifts. It always looks shinier, it always looks happier. And I can tell you that your crystal is singing. So after this, I invite you to place the crystal either today or at some later stage on one of the power centers of your body and receive from it. So, few things that you need to know is that how often do we do this? I recommend doing it once every new moon to cleanse your crystals, especially if they're in use. You can do many at one time. You know, if you've got a whole kit, you can, and you just want to charge it for general healing, you can do that. You can do one at a time, you can do many at a time. And even if you can't put your hands on them all, you just imagine it reaching there. Or if you struggle with visualization, just say, this intention is for all the crystals within the vicinity of me right now. And just do it like that. Intention is everything. So I hope that you have enjoyed this free training today, and I hope this will support you going out to apply crystals in your life and on your journey. And I think it's really important to say that let the crystals be the teacher, let the crystals lead the way. They will absolutely support you. So going back to my things to remember. Intention is everything. Your body's natural state is wellness. When you work with a crystal, it's just to take you there. And your experience of health and wellness is a gift to the world. In a world that needs more healing, the best gift we can bring to all of her inhabitants is to find healing within ourselves. So thank you for making that commitment. Now, you can claim your truth to be whole, healed, and complete, and crystals can help you there. So, big stuff. Now, if you enjoyed this today and you would like to go further and go deeper, I'm super excited to say to you that I have opened up the doors for a cohort of Crystal Energy Guide, Certified Crystal Energy Guide, which is my online training. It's a certified training that you will have lifetime access to. There's over 56 training videos, a 70-page manual, and upon completion of this training, you will be certified in crystal healing and crystal therapy. And you can use the designation Crystal Energy Guide. And this is a training that is accredited by the Complementary Medical Association. So I'm super excited to say that I have, at the end of today, opened up the doors to my Certified Crystal Energy Guide training. I will send you an email about that, but I will also put a link in the description for you to join that. So Crystal Energy Guide is open right now. We've lowered the price slightly, and as a special offer right now, it's open for the next 5 days from the moment I do this live call. And the first onboarding call is in 2 weeks' time. In 3 months' time minimum, you will be certified in crystal therapy. You can do it as long as you want. As part of the training, you get lifetime access. Anytime it updates, you get the updates complimentary. You get access to all of the information and amazing community. You can go at your own pace. After 3 months, you can apply for certification. There's also bonus calls. So as part of it, we have an onboarding call in 2 weeks and then one call a month over the next 3 months. The first one is just like general coaching on working with crystals. The second one, is working with the body scan methodology, which is how to take a client through an experience to find blockages in their body and then how to apply crystals. And we also then have a third call, which is on how to apply crystals with other energy healing methodologies. So maybe you do Reiki or spiritual healing or theta healing and you want to apply crystals, how to do that as well. So it is a fully certified, accredited training in crystal healing, and it's called Certified Crystal Energy Guide. I've been working with crystals for over 20 years. I'm really proud of this training. This is the only time this training will open up this year. And like I said, once you're a member for life. So would love to see you there. You can find all the information on the link that we're sending out. And it's open for the next 5 days. So I'd love to see you there. Anyway, thank you for being part of this training. Leave your questions in the comment section and I will do my very best to answer as many as possible. Thank you, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.